From our Chicago studios, this is the Muslim News on Muslim Network TV. Assalamu alaikum, I am Samana Siddiqui. Our top story tonight. President-elect Donald Trump has appointed former Democratic Congresswoman Tulsi Gabbard as the new U.S. intelligence chief. She will be the first Hindu American to hold a cabinet-level position. While Gabbard has no direct experience in intelligence, her nomination has sparked controversy. Critics, including The Atlantic, warn that she could pose a national security risk, and there are doubts about whether the Senate will approve her appointment. Gabbard, who was the first Hindu to serve in Congress, has faced criticism for her alleged ties to Hindu extremist groups. She has also extended support to autocratic leaders like India's Narendra Modi, Egypt's Abdel Fattah al-Sisi, and Syria's Bashar al-Assad. As the confirmation process begins, experts say the future of her nomination remains uncertain. In related news, President-elect Donald Trump has made another controversial appointment. He has nominated former Arkansas Governor Mike Huckabee as the next ambassador to Israel. The 69-year-old is known for his unwavering support of Israel, describing himself as an unapologetic Zionist. Huckabee has long been a critic of Palestinian claims to the West Bank, calling the Palestinian-controlled region Judea and Samaria, using the name Zionists do for it. He also supports the expansion of illegal Israeli settlements in the West Bank and is a vocal advocate of a one-state solution that rejects Palestinian statehood. Observers say Huckabee's appointment reflects Trump's pro-Israel policies, including his controversial 2018 decision to move the U.S. Embassy to Jerusalem. Trump praised Huckabee as a great public servant who will work tirelessly for peace in the Middle East. Several Senate Republicans are strongly objecting to President-elect Donald Trump's decision to nominate Matt Gaetz for U.S. Attorney General. They say Gaetz will not be confirmed, raising concerns over his ongoing House ethics investigation. These include allegations of sexual misconduct, drug use, and accepting improper gifts. House Ethics Committee Chairman Michael Guest said that its probe would end if Gaetz were appointed Attorney General. But GOP senators like Susan Collins have stressed the importance of thorough background checks and Senate hearings. Republican Senator John Cornyn notes that Gaetz' legal troubles could complicate his confirmation. With just days before Republicans regain control of the Senate, Democrats are urgently working to confirm President Joe Biden's judicial nominees. On Tuesday, the Senate approved April Perry as a U.S. District Court judge in Illinois, the first judicial confirmation since Trump's election win. Biden has 60 nominees already reviewed by the Judiciary Committee and another 30 nominees waiting. The Senate's confirmation power is critical as these judges hold lifetime appointments. President-elect Donald Trump's previous judicial appointments in his first term have reshaped the judiciary, creating a conservative majority in the Supreme Court. Observers say Democrats are pushing to secure as many confirmations as possible, while Trump supporters are urging Republicans to block these last-minute confirmations. In a Senate with a narrow 51-49 Democratic majority, analysts say every vote counts in this high-stakes confirmation battle before Trump's inauguration in January. Judicial nominees need a simple majority for confirmation. During Trump's first term, the Republican-controlled Senate confirmed 18 judges after President Joe Biden had won the 2020 election, but before he took office. The U.S. Court of Appeals for the 10th Circuit has reversed a lower court decision that allowed two organizations to send pre-filled mail ballot applications to voters in Kansas. Legal experts say the ruling on the actions of Vote America and the Voter Participation Center, or VPC, is significant. The verdict comes after the VPC sent voting packages to over 500,000 Kansas voters in 2020, sparking concerns over potential voter confusion and fraud. The case will now be revisited by the lower court for further review. The plaintiffs argued that a state statute violated their First Amendment rights by restricting free speech and association. Muslim students at Northwestern University in Chicago are voicing concerns over halal food being misrepresented in the school's dining halls. The controversy began after a student noticed bacon that was labeled halal. After questioning the dining worker, the student was told the food was indeed bacon, prompting the removal of the label. Other Muslim students at Northwestern have reported similar incidents. That includes pork sausages being mistakenly marked as halal and concerns over cross-contamination between halal and non-halal foods. In response, a spokesperson has acknowledged the signage issues and promised increased monitoring. The campus's Muslim Cultural Student Association is advocating for a number of changes through legislation that was presented submitted to the student government for a vote yesterday. These include more stable signage and a designated halal food area to avoid confusion. They are also pushing for education on halal standards and using clear labeling, such as emojis, to indicate the presence of pork. UN report accuses Israel of genocide in Gaza, urges global accountability. Details after the break, so stay tuned, and we'll be right back. Back. A new report from the UN Special Committee describes Israel's war and violence in Gaza as consistent with genocide. It cites mass civilian casualties and intentionally imposed life-threatening conditions on Palestinians. Released today, the report investigated Israeli practices in Gaza. It outlines how Israeli officials have endorsed policies that deprive Palestinians of essential resources such as food, water, and fuel. The committee highlights the devastating effects of Israel's blockade and its obstruction of aid, worsening the suffering of civilians. By early 2024, over 25,000 tons of explosives had been dropped on Gaza, destroying vital infrastructure, including water and sanitation systems, and leading to widespread environmental damage. These actions have created a lethal crisis, which will have long-term health consequences for future generations. Concerns are also raised over Israel's use of AI-assisted targeting systems, which have resulted in disproportionately high civilian casualties, particularly among women and children. The report condemns Israel's media censorship, attacks on journalists, and suppression of dissent, aimed at blocking global access to information and undermining the work of humanitarian organizations. The committee calls on all UN member states to hold Israel accountable for its violations of international law and prevent further escalation of the humanitarian crisis. The full report will be presented to the UN General Assembly on November 18th. A prominent Palestinian leader is facing severe life-threatening mistreatment in Israel's Ramla prison. A Palestinian human rights group has revealed that Khalid al-Jarrar, who has been held in solitary confinement for over 90 days, lives in a cramped, poorly ventilated cell with no basic necessities like water or light, leading to what is being described as a tomb-like environment. The Handala Center for Prisoners and Ex-Prisoners has condemned her mistreatment and is calling for international intervention. Jarrar is a prominent leader of the Popular Front for the Liberation of Palestine. She was arrested on December 26, 2023 in Ramallah and placed under Israeli administrative detention without charges. As tensions in the West Bank escalate following Israel's ongoing offensive in Gaza, the humanitarian crisis has deepened. Israel currently holds 97 women prisoners, with many facing harsh conditions similar to Jarrar's. The center is urging immediate action to address these violations. Israel killed at least 78 people in attacks across Lebanon on Tuesday, raising the overall death toll since last year to 3,365, the Lebanese Health Ministry reports. In a statement, it notes that 122 other people were injured over the past day, raising the total number of injured people to 14,344 since October 2023. Israel has launched a massive air campaign in Lebanon since late September against what it claims are Hezbollah targets. Israel killed at least 18 people, including children, and injured others on Wednesday in airstrikes in southern and central Gaza. In 2 airstrikes on November 13th, 9 people, among them children, were killed in a designated safe zone in southern Gaza. Israeli fighter jets also hit a house in the Al-Mawasi area west of Khan Yunis, killing 8 individuals, including children. 1 person was also killed and several people were injured in another strike near a tent encampment in Al-Mawasi, which has also been labeled a safe zone for displaced civilians by the Israeli army. In a third attack, several Palestinians sustained various injuries in an Israeli airstrike targeting a tent sheltering displaced people in the Al-Mawasi area. The Guardian has announced it will stop posting on social media platform X. In a statement, the British media outlet expressed concerns over the growing negativity and extremism on the site, which it believes now outweighs the benefits for sharing journalism and engaging with audiences. The decision comes amid rising scrutiny of X, particularly during last week's U.S. presidential election. The Guardian has criticized the rise of harmful content, including far-right conspiracy theories and racism. It links these to changes made by Elon Musk since he acquired the platform in 2022. The newspaper emphasized that its resources would be better spent on other platforms. While the Guardian's official editorial accounts will no longer be active on X, articles can still be shared by users. The paper has also noted that X content may occasionally appear in news reports when relevant. Switzerland's controversial burqa ban will come into effect on January 1st. The clothing covers a woman completely, including part of her face, and is worn by some Muslim women. This ban was approved in a 2021 referendum and prohibits face coverings in public. It was spearheaded by the Swiss People's Party and passed narrowly with just over 51% support. Under the new rule, those violating the ban could face fines of more than $1,000. It has drawn strong opposition from Muslim groups and human rights advocates. Exceptions include face coverings on planes, at diplomatic sites, and in places of worship. The law also allows face coverings for health, cultural practices, and personal protection, provided they are approved by authorities and do not disrupt public order. Switzerland joins a growing number of countries with similar laws, following the lead of nations like France and Belgium. More than 50 lawmakers worldwide are calling on the United Nations to intervene and protect 48 Uyghur men who have been detained in Thailand for over a decade. These detainees have been held at Thailand's immigration detention center since 2014. They are at risk of being deported to China, where they could face severe persecution. The men are among hundreds of Uyghurs who fled occupied East Turkestan, also called the Xinjiang region, seeking refuge in Southeast Asia. While some were resettled in Turkey, many remain trapped in poor conditions in Thai detention with no legal aid or visitors. The Interparliamentary Alliance on China has urged the UN Refugee Agency to ensure the safety of Uyghur detainees, stressing that 5 have already died in custody. That's all from our Chicago studios tonight. Thank you for watching Muslim News. We are a community channel dedicated to bringing you stories you can trust. Please like, share, and subscribe to our content. You can also comment to let us know what you think of our coverage. Donate now by visiting muslimnetwork.tv/donate. For more content, keep watching Muslim Network TV. Salam.